Hello to all you hip skips out there.
And welcome to the jungle. Join Disney historian David Dr. Skipper Marley and art director and crooner Trevor Kelly as these former jungle skips explore the world of Disney, pop culture and theme parks. But hold on tight, because just like a jungle cruise, their conversations often head deep into uncharted waters. Now, grab a seat and enjoy Expedition 61, Mousin around Kansas City, Mario Kart Sabotage, and Uncle Walt's bench collection. Move it up, skips.
Hey, handsome, how's it going?
Oh, hello. I like when you start it. Compliment me. I need to remember that.
Started off positively. Because remember, we didn't do that one episode because we were both crabby. So
that's right.
This is how we are when we're happy. And you look good.
Thank you.
For getting all 4 of your wisdom teeth pulled out.
All 4 of them gone last week. It went fine. I didn't have too much puffing, but I will say it was a slight preview of how it's going to be when I'm old. In that all of my food will be liquid.
Yeah.
And I'll be just slightly in pain all the time.
Yep.
So I didn't enjoy that.
Yep.
But
I had all 4 of mine pulled in junior high. My mom took a picture and she still has it somewhere. I had a perfectly square jaw. I swear to God, Ted Kennedy. I looked like a 12-year-old Ted Kennedy in my Kiss pajamas.
Which is actually RFK Jr. now.
Exactly. Right.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be back in the land of no humidity and Mexican food.
That's
right.
what
I'm doing.
You were in Kansas City, Missouri?
Yeah, Kansas City, Missouri.
Because there's no Kansas City, Kansas.
There is.
There is?
There is.
That's confusing.
It is, yes. They all know where it is.
Okay.
You know, like when you drive around Orange County and you go, oh, I'm in Santa Ana, I'm in Irvine. Like,
yes.
You know, there's no like border. Sometimes there's signs.
Yeah.
Irvine butts up signs because Irvine's pretentious. But you just know what neighborhood you're in.
Yeah.
Even like driving through LA. That's how it is. Like this a very cool teacher that I met, a high school teacher from New Jersey. We became buddies, and we took a Lyft ride to what's supposed to be one of the best barbecue places on earth.
Oh, awesome!
Like Anthony Bourdain said, top 10 places to eat before you die.
It was Anthony Bourdain's unfortunately titled "Food That Will Take Your Breath Away."
Very sad. Sad. True. Oh, too soon. But it's at a gas station, and we were in Kansas, and I'm like, when did we cross the border? And our driver's like, oh, back there a little bit.
Oh, really?
And so I ate food. I have a receipt of me buying food in Kansas.
That's awesome.
Never been there before.
And I think we mentioned it before. I did Kansas a long time ago.
Yeah.
I'd like to go back because they had one of the best steakhouses I've ever been to. And this is a billion years ago.
Because they just walked the cow right in the restaurant, right to the back door.
You waved it as it walks by your table and give it a little pat on the butt.
Yeah.
And it was filet mignon for like $10.
Wow.
And you got that, and you got these like sweet rolls. Oh my gosh, it was fantastic. All I'm doing is thinking about food now because I can't eat
anything. Well, I was thinking about Mexican food, which is why I've been to Wahoo's twice in 1 week.
Oh, very nice.
Since Sunday, I've been there twice.
So, stunningly good barbecue food out there. Like out of like you ate at that place, and did you have any other barbecue? Like how did it all compare?
I did. It was good. It wasn't anything different from some of the better places out here in California.
Okay.
Like we've all had trash barbecue, but there's a couple that are nice. It was like that. I'm like,
Okay.
oh, okay, this is good. Like,
yeah.
I don't know what made it so, but I'm not a foodie. I mean, I enjoy Hamburger Helper, so clearly I'm white trash boy.
You cook that low and slow. It's a treat,
right? I mean, I learned how to cook on my own when I was 10.
Okay.
And I never progressed past that. What a 10-year-old can cook, that's what I can cook. But it was very, very good. Worth the drive. I bought some of the barbecue sauce because it was so good. They're spicy. Night of the Living Barbecue is what it's called because it's nice and spicy. I bought a bottle of that. Super fun to go. Then there was this another place and you got to go to this place. And we went there and had some more barbecue.
Awesome.
It was very tasty. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't get a physical now.
I gained 4 pounds in a week because I was there grading exams for AP US History. So if you had a student that took AP US History this year, they have failed. So
I have seen to it personally.
I in a couple of cases, I know I have. Well, this kid's not going to college.
This did remind me. I don't know if you were planning on talking about it, but I did want to bring it up. At one point, you texted me. I thought you should know I've been drinking. What bar were you at?
Okay. I posted it on Patreon today, which tells you when we record this, called the Kon-Tiki. I was looking up tiki bars in Kansas City, and some were like, oh, it's a tiki bar and grill, or tiki bar and this. But this was like it was right between my hotel and where we were grading at the convention center.
Oh, perfect.
And it was on Tuesday. Tuesday was a rough day. I got sent to the head table leader person, like my boss's boss, because I was causing so much trouble. And she's like, no, see, it's this. I go, I said certain things like, tell me that is an acceptable thesis statement. Like, that's the kind of argument I was having.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, they only had 20 minutes. I'm like, so? Okay, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's still not a college level essay. So at one point I'm like, just tell me you want me to pass everybody and we can move forward. She said, no, that's not what I mean. I said, well, it's the message that I'm getting.
So you heard it here first. We're blowing the lid off of AP history test results.
I don't think I'm supposed to talk about any of it, and I don't care. But I had a good time. They're going to fire me now having heard this. So Tuesday I had a rough day. I'm like, I was going to go to Kon-Tiki anyway.
Okay.
But when I left the convention center, I'm walking down the street towards the bar. I said, I'm going to get drunk, not a little drunk. I'm going to get super drunk. Like future Dave is going to be pissed at me. So I took some video. You can watch it on Patreon if you're one of our Cambodian Shriner level members. It's up there right now. So I go in the bar and I'm taking videos and I have a nice drink. And I decided I'm going to have at least two. And then there's one other patron in the bar, and he's another reader, the high school teacher from New Jersey.
Yeah.
We become buddies, even though the dude was an inch taller than me.
Oh, that's
which is
big.
Highly offensive.
Yeah. We've covered that extensively.
Yes. But we hung out the whole week. He's awesome guy. So we start talking and joking, and I had 3 drinks, then he wants to buy me one.
Oh,
so
wow.
I vaguely remember having a 4th drink. And I remember ordering an Uber, even though I was like a mile and a quarter away from I could see my hotel.
Yeah.
And I was like, nope. And so that's why the video has no ending. And I had to turn the volume off because there's one where I'm walking through the bar and I go and sit where I'm sitting at the bar stool. And the whole time I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, because I was drunk. And I'm like, oh, and I sit down, you hear me go, oh, God.
Now, just so you know, 4 tiki drinks for Dave is quite a bit.
That's like anyone else having 15 tiki drinks. Yes. I was so wasted.
I wanted,
please go ahead.
I wanted to tell you, another little personal thing that happened the other week that I was thrilled to bits about. Went to Radiant down the street, fantastic beer place. Yep. They had something I've always wanted to attend. They had live band Mario Kart. And if you listen to the podcast, I play Mario Kart probably daily. And so does Jess. And so what they do is it's a tournament and they have this giant screen that's playing Mario, like people are playing Mario Kart, and they turn off all the sound and a live jazz band is playing the Mario Kart music to the screen. It's fantastic.
Oh my God, that sounds so cool.
It was really neat.
Aren't there sound effects and stuff?
There are. So you don't get those.
Okay.
So it kind of makes it a little tricky to play. But the band does the music perfectly. And even on the 3rd lap, when the music speeds up, they speed up. It's fantastic.
Get that guy from Police Academy who could make all the noises.
That's the cheaper version.
Yeah.
You don't want to hire a full band.
But have the band, but then have him do the sounds.
That's a great idea.
I'll be a sound effect guy.
There we go.
Right? We can play Mario Kart long enough to learn the sounds.
That's a great idea.
Right?
So me and Jess entered, and I made it to the finals.
No way.
Jess, and this is not because Jess was not good. So me and Jess, when we played together against other people, we team up against the other people. It's a great strategy.
Okay.
And so we both decided whichever one of us was doing better in the first round, we are going to focus on destroying the other people so that way that person gets through.
Okay.
And I just luckily happened to be doing better in the first half of it. And so Jess bravely sacrificed herself to make sure I continued on the tournament. So I got to the finals, and it was just me and 3 other people. And this thing had been going on for like 3 hours at this point. So
oh my God,
I'm lit. And
you were drinking the whole time?
I was drinking the whole time.
Oh, that's
so
brilliant.
I was trying to pace it, but 3 hours is 3 hours.
It is.
And you could tell the person next to me, because they told me I'm too drunk for this now. And I said, you and me both, pal. And you could tell the other 2 people were like Mario Kart ringers that go around to tournaments. Like they were intense about it.
Really?
And so we're playing the Grand Prix. I think it's like 4 matches. And so by match 3, I realized there is no mathematical way for me to win anymore. And so right before the fourth match, I turned to them and I said, there's no way I'm going to win this, but I'm going to ruin it for one of you.
And so what did you do?
I ruined it for one of them.
How did you do it?
You try to like either hit them with red shells if you're in front of them, block them. Like you make sure you are a conscious roadblock the entire race.
That is
whenever you can.
That is the phrase of the show. Conscious roadblock.
That's right. I did want to mention real quick because it just happened the other day. A good old Brian Wilson died.
Yeah.
And I see some people, like, there's been a lot of outpouring about it, and some people are very sad about it. But I've read about him, and I've got a pretty good understanding of his life.
Yeah,
I felt pretty good for him for dying.
Yeah,
because he had a rough go of things.
Yeah, I mean, he got horrible time, but he got better, got to enjoy life again, and then had dementia. Yeah,
and then his partner passed away a couple of months ago, and she was like his world. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she'd passed away a little bit before him, and so I felt happy for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember they said one of his kids became his like their legal guardian or whatever? And I'm like, what happened to his wife? And I didn't hear the first part of the news story.
She passed away recently.
Okay.
So.
When you heard the news, what's the first song that popped into your head? And I'll tell you mine.
Mine was, and I put it on the post, Till I Die by the Beach Boys.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, I'm a cork on the ocean.
That's okay, sure. Yes, that's the lyric. Yeah.
He wrote that song when he had taken acid and was sitting on the beach.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm embarrassed by mine. Mine was the song Brian Wilson by Bare Naked Ladies.
Not even a Beach Boys song.
Not even a Beach Boys song. But last year at Tiki Oasis, we saw Al Jardine do
That's right.
He was really good.
They were fantastic.
The guy that looked like somebody's dad in a polo shirt singing Brian Wilson songs.
Nailing Brian Wilson songs.
Yes.
And
they had a dummy of Mike Love that everybody got to take a swing at like a piñata.
Just like the real Mike Love. I saw a post the comedian wrote that said, Mike Love announces he can no longer sue Brian Wilson.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, the great thing about Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys is the Beatles made Revolver. There was this cool kind of funky new epic, and he went to his team and said, we need to beat this album. And so that's when he made the album Pet Sounds, which is considered to be an absolute masterpiece.
It's incredible.
The Beatles heard it and said, oh, crap, we have to beat it. Mm-hmm. And that's when they came up with Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
And then years later, Mike Love says we have to beat all of that. So he wrote Kokomo.
With Uncle Whatever from Full House.
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we've been listening to the Beach Boys a lot the past day or so in the house just because of that. And later Beach Boys is some of my favorite stuff. If you have written off the Beach Boys because you think they're all like fun, check out some of the weird stuff, like the Smile era stuff that Brian Wilson did. It holds up to anything the Beatles did, like in their experimental phase.
Yeah.
And it still influences a lot of songs today too.
Yeah. I like the Beach Boys, but I didn't get like into them until I lived in Washington, D.C. And I started playing the Beach Boys because I didn't want to live in Washington, D.C. So I had a radio show at the campus, and I would play punk and rockabilly and then early Beach Boys, usually early.
Yeah.
Yeah, the more surf focused.
I mean, they're fun. It's a fun sound.
You know what? It was fun.
Yeah.
Until I graduated. That doesn't work as well as the actual lyrics. Can I give you my prediction?
Please.
And as a historian, I get to say things and proclaim them. And if anybody disagrees with me, you're wrong. That's how it works. By the way, first prediction, Las Vegas Raiders, Super Bowl 2026. You're calling it here. Okay, next prediction.
Okay. We'll use AI to add a different year every time. You can just replay that.
I've been saying it since the last time they won in the 80s, because one time I'm going to be right.
That's true.
And people say, oh my God, he's a prophet. I'm like, well, if you keep saying the same thing long enough.
Just don't listen to anything else I've said.
Exactly. In the future, I think the two greatest composers of the 20th century, people will think it's Brian Wilson and Paul McCartney.
I think you're correct.
They will be with Mozart, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky. Like they'll be that level of great musician where their music is not going to die.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
What went through his brain and came out is incredible, and it drove him nuts.
Yeah, a lot of geniuses. Yeah, little crazy.
Yeah, but good for him.
Yeah,
good for him, and good for us that we got to listen to it.
Yes. Yeah. I have a little fun story to tell you.
Please.
First, I want to tell you why I am the smartest person you've ever met. And then I want to tell you about my fun trip around Kansas City.
Okay.
Disney related.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So, first of all, why I'm the smartest person you've ever met.
Yes.
I'm going to give you some travel tips for you, Trevor. 'Cause I know
Okay.
you travel for business, and anyone's traveling, listen to me.
And by the way, we're pivoting into a travel podcast.
We are. Except we'll talk like this now, like NPR travel. This is why I'm a genius. So, I get on the plane, right? I fly to Kansas City.
Yes.
And I remember seeing an email about which hotel I'm staying at. Mm-hmm. And so I get there and there's lines, and because there's thousands of us showing up to grade these exams. They're like, Sheraton or Marriott? I'm like, I think the email said Marriott. So I said Marriott. So they put me on the Marriott bus. They put the little tag for my luggage. I get there. The line is 100 people long. I took a picture of it.
What?
I waited 20 minutes to check in. I'm like, hi, Dave Marley. They're like, nope. I'm like, wait, what? He's like, we don't have any record of it. He's like, oh, but the guy behind the counter knew. He's like, oh, well, there is another hotel. There's a Sheraton. So if you're not here, you must be staying there. And so I had to get an Uber to drive me across town to the other.
No.
And they're like, oh, yeah, Mr. Marley, here you are. And I'm like, crap. I go, well, at least I'm coming home Sunday. So it'll be great. So I'll be home Sunday. And then I noticed we're still reading on Sunday. I'm like, wait, I think my flight's on Sunday. So I had to call the travel agent. They're like, no, your flight's Monday morning. Everyone leaves Monday morning. I'm like, oh. So I'm here an extra day. So to sum up, I didn't know where I was staying.
Yes.
I did not know when I was leaving. And literally, when I was driving to the airport, I couldn't remember which airline I was. The Uber like, hey, which airline? And I just went, it was the John Wayne. I go, just drop me off in the middle.
You're actually on Amtrak, sir.
Exactly. So, and then finally, when I get to my hotel room, I'm like, how the hell did I make it to the age I'm at? I can't do basic things.
Well, you're learning.
I'm too old to be that clueless about my world. I just kind of float around. Oh, somebody will point me the right way.
What's this guy here for? To grade exams.
And he's going to make you call him doctor.
Got a PhD.
I don't have to be present in my brain.
That's right.
I'm thinking other thoughts.
This brain's tired.
Yeah. It's thinking about Jungle Cruise stuff all day.
Do you get to the airport? Are you one of those that gets to the airport at like 3 hours before the flight? Do you have a comfortable padding of time?
I try to resist the dad thing of getting there 8 hours early.
Yeah.
But I don't have my real ID yet.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I was ready. I brought a copy of my birth certificate just so in case I wouldn't, like an actual official one. They didn't care.
They've been saying people are trying to use Costco cards
As evidence?
as like second IDs.
Yeah, that's not going to do it.
No.
They didn't want second ID. But I like to get there at least 2 hours early.
Okay.
My attitude is, and I was, because of ADHD, I was late everywhere, but I became a bus driver. And the thing was, were you there at 8:01 or 8:02? And you had to know when you arrived at that kid's house, and you had to like synchronize your watch to the boss's watch.
Oh my gosh.
It was precise. And so it trained me for 6 years to do it. And then at Disneyland, I learned if I got to work early, they would usually start me early.
Oh, yeah.
So like if my shift was at 4, I'd get there like at 3 or whatever to beat traffic.
Yeah.
And I'd sit in a boat storage and read. And almost always one of the leads like, hey, do you want to start now? And I'm like, I'll be on overtime. He goes, well, Brett goes, I don't care. And so somebody got to go home early. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. All right. Got 45 minutes overtime. And so so I usually try to get there a little bit early.
Yeah.
You know who missed a flight? This is true. Not to bring the podcast down. Seth MacFarlane on 9/11. He was supposed to be on one of the hijacked planes.
Oh my gosh.
He had a ticket to fly from Boston to LA. And he missed it for some reason. That's why if you watch Family Guy, they do a lot of 9/11 jokes.
Because he can.
Because he can. And then one time it was Stewie or Brian goes, it was Stewie. It was supposed to be on that flight. And like they'll do jokes about it.
God.
Yeah.
Wow, that would mess with you the rest of your life.
Rest of your life.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
So every time we get in a plane, is Seth MacFarlane supposed to be on this flight?
I used to have a bit when we do Skipper stand up, and I think it still holds true that I do a check anytime I'm on like a bus or a flight. And if you can look around and it looks like a headline, get off the plane. Like if it's like a youth group,
Yes.
like nuns or like a football team returning home after the championship, get off the bus, get off the plane.
I was flying to DC once when I was living out there from LAX, and they said, hey, on our flight today, there's like 50 Boy Scouts that are going to go be in this patriotic
my
parade.
gosh.
And the guy next to me, an older, goes, well, that's a good sign. God wouldn't let us crash all these kids on board. I said, of course he would. It would make a better story.
He's looking for this. What are you talking
He's waiting
about?
to kill a plane load full of little kids.
We got to get off of here.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. And so he didn't talk to me the rest of the flight. And this is exactly the kind of place God would kill. So,
On the flight back from Hawaii, we had like a inner city youth boys basketball team. I'm like, oh my God.
you guys almost died.
We're going down.
You are. These kids had so much hope, and it was taken away.
That's right.
Let me tell you my other story.
Yes.
The fun story. And I've been posting pictures. So I'm a Disney historian, and I was going to go to Marceline.
Oh, wow.
I was going to rent a car, drive up to Marceline, and drive back. I said, you know what? The way my brain's been working, why don't we check to see if Marceline's open? So I checked all the sites. They're closed on Mondays. Like the museum is
really?
closed. The Midwest and the South, if they can be closed, they will. I don't know when anything is open. I'm like, come on, Marceline, get your act together.
Yeah.
You're famous for one thing. You keep that one thing open 24/7.
That's right.
And so I'm like, well, there's nothing to do. And then my buddy Matt goes, hey, there's a lot of Disney stuff here in Kansas City. Like, this is where Walt lived before he moved to LA. And I went, oh my God, it is. So we started looking up stuff, and it's on the Visit KC site. So we rented a lift.
Yeah.
And because he was tall and I'm tall, I rented the extra big one. Like
Very
a
nice.
Lincoln Aviator pulls up. Very nice lady driving the thing. And I said, hey, she goes, you're just going to this address on the other side of town? She's like, it's not a great area of town, boys. That's where I'm from. And I said, actually, ma'am, what I want to do is you could drive us there. We want to get out, take some pictures, and bring us back. And I gave her a 20. I'm like, here, just as like a tip, pre-tip.
Yeah.
Just, that's all we want to do. We want to go see these sites. She's like, oh, well, all right, let's go have some fun. And she drives us to the Laugh-O-Gram Studio.
Oh, wow.
It's the first place we went. I posted pictures of that on Instagram a couple days ago.
And for listeners that may not know what Laugh-O-Gram is.
It is the Walt Disney's first company that he ever ran, where they made, they were supposed to make commercials that you saw at the movie theater.
Okay.
And they went bankrupt.
Is this with Byworks?
Yes,
Okay.
Byworks was there. And the story is that's one of the places he invented Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
Because he would find mice and he would keep them in a little cage on his desk and feed them cheese. And
they talked to him.
He had him, turn it down. But he had a mouse in the desk. I've heard Walt tell different versions of the story.
Okay.
I don't know if it's true or not. I had to interview the mice, I guess. But it's upstairs in this old brick building that's really cool. And now it's boarded up, but it has like, thank you, Walt Disney. And I guess they got donated a couple $100,000 to fix it up and make it look nice and
cool.
new. Yeah. So we were there taking all these pictures, and our driver was really into it. She thought it was really cool. This woman named Bobby, she was absolutely fantastic. So that was cool. And then we went to the last remaining house of his.
Oh, wow.
He lived there from I don't remember, 1909 to 1921 in this one house that has since been demolished.
Okay.
So this is the last place he lived in Kansas City, is this house. And she's driving us around. She's like, oh yeah, this is the roughest part of the city. And she's like, that's the church I used to go to. That's where my mom went to high school. And we pulled up to this house, and the neighborhood's, it's just looks kind of run down. And there's a guy sitting on the porch, and my buddy's like, that's the house. I'm like, you sure? He goes, yeah, there's a Mickey Mouse statue in front of it. I'm like, well, that is a pretty good sign. And I look up the address. I'm like, yep.
And it's holding a shotgun. It says no trespassing.
Exactly right. And the lady, our driver's like, well, I'm gonna go check this out with you boys. And she gets out with us, and my buddy Matt goes, hey, is it okay if we take pictures? And the guy goes, oh yeah. And he takes the little kid with him, and they go in the house.
Oh, wow.
And the driver goes, I think he's done this before. I'm like, yeah, I think they have.
Right.
So we take a couple pictures of the house, and it's cool. It needs a paint job and whatnot, but it's this real where Walt and his brothers and his parents lived until they were brought out to Los Angeles. And
so he, because I don't know much about his early history, he moved with his family from Kansas City out to the West Coast, or he left as a young man after bankrupting?
He left as a young man because he had family out here, but his brother Roy was out here because he had what is that? It's not tuberculosis, but he had
rickets.
No,
I just like saying rickets.
Maybe it was TB. What's the one where they put you in the desert to dry your?
Oh yeah.
lungs?
I don't know what it is, but I know what you're talking about.
Dropsy, Dum Dum Fever. I don't know.
I like Dum. That's a good band name right there. Dum Dum Fever.
That would be pretty good. Ladies and gentlemen, Dum Dum Fever. Dum Fever. So his brother Roy had already moved out there, so he knew people and had cousins. Because that's what's on the Inkwell Street is like his cousin's house where they lived, or aunts and uncles. But this is where his parents actually bought this house, the one before they were renting. So this is a house that Disney's owned. And the lady that owns it came out, and she goes, I've lived here my whole life. My parents owned it when I was born.
Wow.
And I've lived here my whole life. And this other woman comes out, and she's like, this is my daughter. I named her Flora after Walt Disney's mom.
Wow.
I know. And so we got to meet the family. And she's like, go in the backyard. You can see the garage. I'm like, the garage? And that's where he was starting to film stuff. And I found pictures of him by this like brick garage in the back of the property where Walt would like film little movies and stuff.
Wow.
And I'm like, why am I standing here in this random street?
They're so nice.
These people could not have been any nicer. And so there's a book called Walt Disney in Kansas City.
Okay.
I think the name of it, they sent me, she showed it to me so I could take a picture of it. But here it is. It's called Kansas City Home, Walt Disney's Kansas City Home. And the lady was super nice. Her name was Roberta. And she showed me that book because she's on the cover of it.
Oh, cool.
And it was just neat to talk to her about it and how people, just random people come by all the time to just look at it. So they're used to the drill.
Yeah.
But we were there for maybe 20 minutes talking with her.
How fun.
Me and Matt and Bobby, our driver. And I was like on such a high because it was so fun. Like I couldn't believe I was having this much fun and I wasn't even drunk. And then Bobby's like, well, you see in this part of the neighborhood, let me show you the good parts of Kansas City. And she drove us for 45 minutes around, didn't charge us, just drove us around the city and was showing, here's the nice neighborhoods. That's so-and-so owns this and he's really rich. And here's this big flood that happened here and destroyed all these places. And it was so great. I had like $5 left in my wallet and I gave it to her. I'm like, here's all the cash I have. And then we tipped her nice on the app.
What a nice life affirming thing.
She was fantastic. Yeah. It was awesome.
Isn't it? I was thinking about old Uncle Walt a little bit when I was putting together stuff to talk about for this because this episode drops on Father's Day. Yeah. And that was, at least in the PR, the precipice for Disneyland.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that story's true.
You think it's true?
Yes. Because he'd said it. I mean, he talked about wanting a theme park, I guess even when he was working in Kansas City.
Okay.
But that's when he really, on that bench that they have at the Walt Disney Family Museum. Yeah. That's where he said, I'm going to build this, that the parents need a place to have fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm going to build a theme park and I'm going to bury this place.
I will destroy them. They will rue the day they mess with Walt.
Right. Walt wants a ride.
Yeah. What about dads? And so, that's why it was a Griffith Park, so that's still there.
Yeah, it is.
I haven't seen it.
He just had his bench removed.
Yes. I'm taking my bench. I got my idea, my bench. That's the rule. You come up with the theme park, then you'll get the bench you sat on. Right. That's the rule.
That was his main move, was taking benches from wherever he had an idea.
Yep. Sticking them in a museum.
That's right.
Walt Disney Family Museum, 3rd floor, just benches.
Just benches. Walt's benches.
Walt's benches, and you cannot touch. Huh. Yeah, I realized I've been to a lot of his houses. I kind of feel like a stalker now.
Yeah, you've been to the one in like LA, right? The Los Feliz or wherever that is.
There's a couple in Los Feliz.
Yeah.
Like where he first lived with his aunt and uncle. Then he moved literally across the street on Kingswell Avenue. And he rented a room on the top floor with his brother. And then there was the first house he and Roy bought, like they were next to each other. They were built the same because they paid to have a builder build them the same.
That feels like very much a Roy Disney move. It'll be cheaper if we just have them build the exact same place.
Yeah.
You just have to duplicate it.
Yeah.
So we'll save some money.
Yeah. Yeah. That was back in the day where you would buy the property and then you had to build something.
Oh, okay.
That's why like Sears catalog used to sell houses.
Yeah.
And the wood would come and you would just build it yourself.
That's crazy.
Like how we built the sipping office.
That's right.
But a house. Which is insane.
It's always been weird because there was a minute we were, you might still even be in it, the HHA.
Yeah.
The Hyperion Historical Alliance. And I only went to one, maybe two, but like hearing you talk about his houses and everything, like all these places that Walt Disney went, and they have like an almost like fanatical way of figuring out, this is what the room was like painted, and this is the carpet and this and that. And I'm like, if you held a gun to Walt Disney's head when he was 50 and said, name what your bedroom looked like when you were 12, he'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
But like, he's just focused on making history. And then these other people just focus on figuring out every little bit of his life leading up to, his eventual death.
You've described what I do for a living.
It's crazy to me. I mean, it's great that people do that, but it's lost on me. I don't have that kind of brain.
There was one guy came one year and we were meeting at the Disney Animation Studio. They have that little theater. And this guy had done a 3D recreation of the Hyperion Studio.
Oh, wow.
And he was walking us through it and it got to be a little dizzy after a while. Here's the stairs and here's Walt's office. And he had just recreated all of it from all these pictures and diagrams and had spent months building this. And I'm like, this is cool. Also mildly psychotic. I'm just gonna write a book and describe it.
That's always the thought in the back of my head. I'm like, I am happy somebody did this. This is terrifying.
Right? Yeah. He's also the guy that did it for, gave us a tour of the Hyperion Studio, which is now a parking lot of a Gelson's.
Oh, really?
But if you ever go there, it's on Los Feliz Boulevard in Los Feliz, neighborhood of Los Angeles. But in the parking lot, there is a little painted Mickey Mouse that the head, I forget her name, Becky, the head of Disney Archives, will go by and make sure it's being painted. Like they don't tell I guess, I don't know if Gelson's even knows.
Oh.
But it's the exact spot where the first screen ever stood where a Mickey Mouse movie was projected.
Wow.
She's like, this is the exact spot where the projector was, and this is where the machine was.
That's really cool.
And so she goes, we come by every couple months and just retouch up the Mickey.
Huh.
Because it's the very first place it was ever shown.
That's amazing.
Now some jackass is parking his Tesla Cybertruck there.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess speaking of jackasses and Disney, you know who Mr. Beast is?
Kind of.
Mildly aware.
Yes.
I'm mildly aware of his existence as well. He does crazy stuff on YouTube, and he's like a billionaire now for some reason for doing it. And I called him a jackass. I don't know the guy. He might be doing a lot of good charity work. I don't know. It seemed like a good segue.
Yeah.
It's more jealousy. He rented out Disneyland in Disney's California Adventure for an after-hours date night with his fiance.
Wow.
Guess how much it costs to rent out both parks after hours?
$400,000.
You are not far off.
Really?
$500,000.
Oh my God.
And that seems like a steal to me because things were open.
My only guess was when we worked there, somebody rented it out and it was like 150 grand. And I thought that is all the money in the world. So like, well, inflation and Bob Iger needs a paycheck.
That's right.
Wow.
Poor Bobby Iges.
We would have been at the Jungle Cruise, run that ride with nobody there.
I know. I loved when like corporations would rent out Adventureland stuff because you'd just be sitting there and then occasionally somebody would wander in.
Yep.
Think it was Indiana Jones.
Some travel agent or something. Or you weren't there when we did the Pirates premiere, right?
No, I'd already been gone.
So Pirates of the Caribbean, the whole west side of the park, so Adventureland, Frontierland, New Orleans Square, all of that was closed off to the general public. People who paid to get in a ticket that day, super happy about it. The only thing on that side of the park that was open was the Jungle Cruise. And I was there for an 8-hour shift. I might have taken 2 boats. Like it was so slow. We just parked boats at the dock and just sat there.
Oh, wow.
Because everybody thought we were closed.
Yeah.
So it was I loved it. It had Jungle Cruise and we were doing nothing.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. People come by. They would like sneak in. We're like, no, we're open.
Yeah, come on in.
You know, I think Indy was open as well, maybe.
Man, that's pretty good.
But that was it.
Yeah.
But that was it. Yeah, you couldn't go any farther than that.
That's so sad for those people.
What?
For the people, the guests.
Yeah. And the whole Main Street was a giant red carpet.
I remember that. That was a huge deal. That was like one of the first in a long time that they'd done a movie premiere at the park.
Yeah.
And
remember that office where you I know you do, at Adventureland where they bring you upstairs to yell at you?
Yes.
Like by the manager's office?
Quite familiar.
The big table?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got brought in there more than once. Up in there's a little door that you could look out and see, Disneyland.
Yeah.
And there's a little door, there's a little patio, and me and another guy who shall remain nameless just kind of stood out there and watched the opening like 15 minutes of the movie.
Oh, awesome.
And I'm like, we technically are still at work. Maybe we should go back to the jungle.
It's so funny that those movies became such a big thing because before it came out, everybody's like, really? Pirates of the Caribbean? What are we doing here? Like, and then it's just this massive hit.
Yeah. Our lead that night, he came back and goes, guys, I just ran into David Hasselhoff. And I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, he was walking to he asked where the bathroom was. And I said, how's the movie? He goes, he ain't missing much.
The Hoff.
Oh, yeah. Well, because he asked, are you watching? He's like, no, I have to stay here. He goes, well, you're not missing much.
Maybe we'll talk about this at some other point. The baseball team, I've mentioned it occasionally. The baseball team, me and Joey, former Jungle Cruise skipper, worked out in Utah with. The press guy was just a real gem of a human being. And that's not sarcasm. He was one of the funniest people I've ever met. His name was Vagor.
Nice.
And my first impression
That's a sweet
of him,
name.
It's a killer name.
Yeah.
He worked at the college and he also worked for the baseball team. And my first introduction to him was, and me and Joey were like full on Jungle Cruise, young jackasses. So we were at peak jackass powers.
You guys did some of the funniest stuff I've ever heard of humans doing there.
So maybe
Don't sell yourself short.
Maybe we'll have an episode where I kind of go into some of the games that we did and stuff. But
for World Series.
I walked. Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Or the Major League, or what's it called? All-Star break.
Walk in. Vagor is in there in a pink hooded sweatshirt for the college, and he would walk around the office and use a dry erase marker as a cigar and talk like he was a coach from the 40s. And I'm like, this guy's great. But he said that a friend used to be a bartender in Utah, and bars are few and far between there.
Yeah.
And he said one day he had David Hasselhoff come into the bar, and he was a regular customer at the bar, and he would go and get lit, and he'd talk to David Hasselhoff. I'm assuming about one of two things. It could either be Knight Rider or Baywatch. And David Hasselhoff would leave. And then after a little while, he finally left. And he said that he found out that David Hasselhoff was out there in rehab, but it was like self-checked in rehab, so he could leave at any time. So he'd go to rehab and then leave and then go get lit and then go back to rehab.
Oh my God. Oh my God. And isn't it, I learned this on our I learned things on this podcast, in general. I think I learned it last episode or two ago where you said the beer in Utah is different. There's Mormon beer that's like less alcohol in it.
Companies make Utah brew, which is like, it doesn't go over a certain percentage. I don't know if it's still the case, but when we were there, that was the case. So it was interesting. Yeah, we'll touch upon, we did some really, really, really weird stuff out there.
Hysterically funny stuff.
So we have some cool news for all you cats out there.
Yeah.
We have a brand new sponsor, partner with Walt Disney World Magazine.
Yeah. And DLR Magazine.
And DLR
It's
Magazine.
Brother or sister magazine.
That's right.
Yeah. They're beautiful magazines that for some reason they let me write for.
You've written a couple. You're in the latest episode, episode magazine.
Yeah, the new one, June 2025. My article is there on the bottom.
Very nice.
It says backwards all the way. Jungle Cruise like a skipper.
They and I'll tell you what, they do a great job. As somebody who's very picky about magazine layouts and typography and stuff, it's a very pretty, well-made magazine. You'd want to hold on to it.
Yeah, they're like collector's editions. Like, honest to God, I felt pressure because I was writing like in a new style. I'm not writing academically or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm writing for like a fun general audience, and that was a little stressy. And then I realized, oh my God, WDW Magazine sent people to the park specifically to take pictures of things I mentioned.
Crazy.
I was teaching a class at Fullerton, and everyone's smiling on, there's a guy at Disney World right now taking this.
That's why your next article is going to be about the toilets of Walt Disney World.
That's right.
Going to get them arrested.
Called Flushed with Success, the toilets at Disney World.
But it's an awesome magazine. It's an award-winning magazine. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. Dave's in there a lot.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah. So WDW Magazine comes out every month, and DLR comes out 4 times a year.
Wow.
So seasonally. Yeah. So I've written for both. And one more thing about the June issue.
Please.
It was based on something I figured out, but it came to me at a class I was teaching. And I had my laptop up on this huge screen, and it goes through all these different pictures. And it was going through some Jungle Cruise ones, surprise, surprise. And they were all facing backwards, like looking like through the boat, like towards. Like,
okay.
And I'm watching, and I'm like, huh. All my favorite Jungle Cruise pictures are looking backwards, not looking at
because that's how you saw it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I realized. I went, that'd be a good article.
There you go.
Yeah.
Look at that. And now you're part of Walt Disney World Magazine.
I know.
So yeah, thank you. The 15th of every month, they'll be our sponsor, The Jungle.
And let me just say, I'm a little excited we have a sponsor.
I know, it's pretty cool.
I mean, that makes us seem almost legitimate.
I have a thing that I stumbled across. It might be a fun little game to play real quick with you and listeners. So I saw this on BuzzFeed, and it was describe a Disney movie poorly and see if you can guess what the movie is.
Okay.
So I'm going to go through 3. You listening along, try to guess what the movie is, and you try to guess as well.
Okay.
All right, the first one. A young man commits several health code violations while gaslighting his boss. A young man commits several health code violations while gaslighting his boss.
I got it.
What?
Peter Pan. No. Ratatouille.
Ratatouille.
All right.
That's right.
Good.
Okay, what do we got? Okay, this one's pretty good. An orphaned minor pursues a career in show business, does his own stunts. An orphaned minor pursues a career in show business, does his own stunts.
Oh, minor like a child, not
Yes.
minor like
Not like a
looking at it.
minor.
I thought that's a
It's
Snow
not Snow
White
White.
spinoff. Oh, is it Bolt?
Bolt? What is
Bolt.
that?
I can't believe I'm about to say the sentence I'm about to say. It's a Disney animated movie with Miley Cyrus and John Travolta. That spells box office poison, but it's a really good animated movie.
Bolt. I've never heard of this in my life.
He's like a superhero dog.
Okay.
It's really good. Like I watched it because the babies wanted to watch it. And I'm like, holy hell, this is good.
Huh. All right. No, it's Dumbo.
Dumbo. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Say it again.
An orphaned miner pursues a career in show business, does his own stunts.
Okay.
So that makes sense when you know Dumbo.
Yeah. Yeah.
This one's my favorite.
Yeah.
The last one. A woman hoards A woman hoards garbage and abandons her widowed father to hook up with a guy she hasn't even talked to yet.
Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid.
That's easy, yeah.
Which it's spot on. She is a hoarder.
Yeah.
And she's like, what, 16?
Yeah.
In the movie?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if your 16-year-old daughter said, I'm going to go I'm going to go be with this guy and we're going to get married and I've never met him.
Yeah. He's in his early 20s.
And she's just always in the garage, like with garbage that she's picked up off the street.
Yeah.
You'd be like, you can barely take care of yourself, hon.
Yeah. Yeah. That is crazy.
Yeah. All of those movies. I just read an article about Jeffrey Katzenberg.
Oh, yeah.
And the string of movies that he was helping usher in at Disney at the time were just insane.
Yeah.
Back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
And then I guess he told Eisner, I want royalties based off these movies because I've made so many hits back to back. And Eisner told him, go pound sand, and fired him. And that's when he started DreamWorks.
He gets a cut of Lion King.
Does he?
He gets a pretty good cut of Lion King.
Really?
Yeah. My deal with Katzenberg was he wanted to make every movie edgier.
Oh, okay.
And that's why he wanted to cut part of your world on Little Mermaid.
Really?
Wanted it cut because he said it doesn't test well. We need to keep the story moving. And he wanted her to crack like dirty jokes. And like they said, because he didn't come from Disney, he came from another animation studio.
So Shrek is starting to make a lot of sense now.
Yes. And that's why I was such a bad parent, but I wouldn't let my kids watch DreamWorks movies. I'm like, all it is fart and pee jokes.
Yeah.
Because that's all he does. And if you've seen the movie Tropic Thunder,
yes,
the lead, the Tom Cruise character is based in part on Jeffrey Katzenberg.
Oh, really?
Because he would be talking to somebody, he would just yell, Diet Coke, and somebody would just hand him one. And so I've been told it exists. There are no copies of it available on the internet anywhere, but an animator who worked at Disney at the time said, yes, it existed. Somebody drew a picture of, because Katzenberg's short, he's standing on a table when these animators are standing around him and he's peeing on their work while he's screaming, Diet Coke, and someone's handing him a Diet Coke.
What?
Yeah. So it's like this little angry, and to quote Michael Eisner, I hate that little midget.
Oh, God.
Yeah. But Eisner just could have given him like 20 million to walk away and ended up giving him, I think it's over a couple $100 million at this point.
Wow.
Because he gets a cut of every time the Lion King does anything.
Wow.
He gets a slice. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, right?
Man, Eisner, just swallow that pride.
Right? Yeah. I'm not going to pay you 20 million. Okay, how about 75 billion? Okay, that's fine.
That's fine. I didn't have to lose then.
Plus, he's not paying it.
That's right.
What did he care?
I'd never heard that before. That's wild.
Yeah, it's in Disney Wars, the name of the book.
Okay.
And it's about how Disney almost got taken over in '84 and how Eisner came in and he did rescue that company. Disney would have been destroyed thanks to Wall Street. And then when Frank Wells died, he stayed on too long and didn't want to have a co-helper, and Katzenberg wanted that role and didn't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So he started DreamWorks. That's why DreamWorks movies are all just a little rougher. Oh my God. Speaking of finding offensive stuff, I watched last night. I watched the new Snow White.
Oh, live action. I have no interest.
I only did Gal Gadot, Rachel Ziegler. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean,
just going to say that.
That's a good combo.
Yes. And I could watch Steven Spielberg's West Side Story every single day. And sometimes I watched it twice yesterday. Anyway, so the movie, not great, but they did Rachel Ziegler dirty.
Really?
Because if you listen to her in West Side Story, she has a incredibly beautiful, rare voice. Her voice is so good. And they gave her the most bland, no offense to the songwriters, but you should be ashamed of yourselves. The most bland, boring songs to sing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you watch her in West Side Story, it's two different.
Interesting. Well, Spielberg.
If you watch Snow White and thought, wow, this girl's not good, how'd she get it? Watch her in her first movie ever. She was 18 years old, just graduated high school when she did West Side Story.
Wow.
She blows the doors off that place.
Dang.
She is a great singer. And then Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot has the range of a cardboard box. It's
Yes,
a very
but
pretty
a
cardboard
cardboard
box.
yes.
Speaking of Gal Gadot, I saw Universal released the first image of the Fast and Furious roller coaster that they're opening there.
Okay.
It looks interesting. I can't do roller coasters anymore.
At our Universal.
At our Universal.
Okay.
We saw it at the Fan Fest, and it literally goes down the side of the hill from the top.
Because they've run out of space.
They've run out of space,
Yeah.
so they need to have it do that. It looks pretty cool, and all the cars from the movie are on there, and they spin around and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And Vin Diesel's actually going to be working there for the rest of his life, I think.
He will. What else
He's going to be
is he
taking
gonna do?
tickets
Yeah.
at the front.
I mean, the Groot thing's over.
That's right.
He got nothing
Groot's
left.
gone. Dominic Toretto's going to be gone after this next movie.
Yeah.
What else does he have to do except for just sit out in front of the Fast and the Furious
Take
ride?
tickets or whatever it
That's
is they do
right.
at Universal. So you can't do roller coasters anymore. You're
I'm
telling
not
me.
good at them anymore. I almost the last time I did a roller coaster, I almost blacked out at Six Flags, and so I'm like, no, I'm good.
You did not like when we went on Expedition Everest.
That got me sick.
You did it once and you left. All right. Love you as I do.
Yeah,
I think everyone has free will. They can do what they want to do with their. You know what? Your body, your choice.
that's true.
Except when we go to Epcot next year.
Okay.
I'm not going to force you, but I will beg you to go on.
I'll
Guardians
go
of
on
the Galaxy
Guardians.
Mission Breakout.
Yeah.
Absolutely the best roller coaster I've ever been on. Only thing that comes close to being that amazing is the Hagrid one at Universal Florida.
I will absolutely go on Guardians.
It almost makes you mad 'cause you're like, this is what Disney does better than anybody. And why can't they keep keeping things to this level?
I'm gonna go on Guardians. I'm gonna eat 10 chili dogs before we go on it.
Yes.
Drink around the world.
Do
and
it.
then I'm gonna let things happen. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
Now for the most dangerous part of our show, the return to civilization. If you've enjoyed the show and want to show some support while also getting some adventurously good extras, visit patreon.com/The Jungle Podcast. Also, if you could be so kind as to follow the lads on Instagram, I know they'd be thrilled. At Dr. Skipper Marley and at the.Trevor.Kelly. See you hip skips next time in The Jungle.